Hola, Ivan. Sorry, or hello, Ivan. Another. Since we're going to talk about surf, it's the how do you call it? The Brazilian storm.
Brazilian storm.
Another representative of the Brazilian storm here. So, Ivan Martinho talking directly from São Paulo. How are you?
Hey, João. Very nice. Thanks for having me. Very nice to have the opportunity to talk to you and to talk to our audience. Also have to say that feels good to talk to you in English, right? Feels like that we are traveling and we are like surrounded by friends speaking other languages, and we have to speak in English, otherwise people won't understand. So it feels good that we are back to normal in our events, in our games, in our like usual life. So happy to be here, and let's do it.
Thank you, Ivan. And just to let people know, Ivan is one of the best, better connected people in sports I know. Super cool guy, very knowledgeable, and very generous. Is always sharing information. We're some groups together within a certain group. Actually, we met at. I don't know if we met there the first time, but it's actually where we got closer at an event in Chicago at IEG sponsorship.
Yeah.
Do you remember when that was? Which year?
I think it was 2014, right? Or 2013, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I used to go to this event like every year. Very nice event. So one of the legacies of this event was your friendship. So very happy there we are reconnecting here.
Mine too, and I have to disclose that among our group there, he's the president, because he's the leader of the group, was the leader there in Chicago, and is always collaborating and sharing knowledge with us. So yeah, it's again a big pleasure to have you here. So Ivan, let's start. If you could actually share a bit more about your career. So how actually did you get to work in sports? Maybe if you, even before that, paint us a picture. What you studied, I think, was business administration, right? And then how your career progressed, and how did you get to work with sports?
Sure. Like I was born in São Paulo. I'm 39 years old. So I was born here in São Paulo, and always used to be the last of the line in my class. Why? Because I used to be the highest person in the class, right? I'm 6. Yeah, I'm 6'7" height. So and I always love sports, like different kinds of sports, football for sure, surfing for sure, but different kinds of sports. And being a very tall person, everyone was always pointing me and referring me as a possible volleyball player or a basketball player. And at the end, I ended up playing volleyball, and I played for Palmeiras, and I played for different. Actually, I started playing in schools, and then I ended up playing for the Palmeiras, which is not my team, but the team that I respect so much, my football team, but at the club that I respect so much. And I ended up playing volleyball for most of my career. And the idea of being this volleyball player and learn so much from that sport create me the desire of having the opportunity, creating the objective, I would say better, that someday in the future I could work with sports, right? So I was not that good enough to become a professional volleyball player, but I started my career studying business administration, did lots of post-graduation courses, MBA and stuff. Then I started to study sports as well. Always working in sales and marketing departments for different kinds of companies, right? So I worked for InBev, I worked for Hewlett-Packard, I worked for Vivo. Then I worked for Michael Page, which is very interesting because I was, in a way, I made kind of what iWorkinSport did nowadays, right? I used to be this a recruiter over there. So I have to say that I respect your job so much, and your company so much, because I know how many people want to work and want to have this great opportunity that we have to work in sport. And I know that the links that you have been doing for more than 10 years, right? With iWorkinSport already, for more than 10 years, were the possibility that people created to start their careers in sports. So congratulations for that, João. So after being
iWorkinSport actually is more recent. I've been doing other things before, but with iWorkinSport is since 17.
17.
It's younger, but we're in a good track.
With a big story.
With a big story.
With a big story, yeah, and many placements. So and then I went to the US. I wasn't expect for this company called Michael Page, and then when I came back to Brazil, there was this opportunity of keeping in this recruiting market, but I really felt that would be a moment to shift my career, right? And then I was finding and seeking an opportunity in the sport and entertainment world, and I ended up working at Time for Fun. Time for Fun is this, like at the time, used to be the biggest entertainment company in South America, actually in Latin America, right? And we used to have assets, or like as we say, properties, right? Like Cirque du Soleil, all of these big concerts like U2, Lady Gaga, Rush, Aerosmith, these kind of guys that make these big events. What you call performing arts, kind of Stomp, Blue Man Group, all of this very interesting concert venues, Broadway shows, and one sport asset that is very like the biggest motorsports category here in Brazil until nowadays, which is VCAR, stock car, right? So that was back like 13 years ago, my first experience working with sports and entertainment. Then I left, spent some time with them. Then I left, got the opportunity to work for the biggest sports marketing agency at that time, Traffic. Traffic was pretty much controlling the main rights for football in South America, and used to have like a very, I would say, special position in the market as far as like controlling and having the relations with CONMEBOL and with CONCACAF and with CBF and stuff, right? So I had the opportunity to learn so much in this sport that's the biggest sport in Brazil. Yeah, lots of connections made through there, lots of opportunities to work with the sport that I love, that was football at the time. Then I was responsible. I got the opportunity to work directly with the World Cup, with the Olympics. I was leading the project with Copa America 2015, and then finally I went I left Traffic, being a quick cycle with the cinema group in this media unit called Flix Media. Moved to Disney Group to work for Fox channels, taking care of the Fox channels, National Geographic channels, and also Fox Sports. And most recently, since like 1 year now, since July last year, yeah, I took this position to be the CEO for the Latin America region for the World Surf League. So here I am.
And yeah, I think the last time we met in person was, you were still at Fox. It was at your office there.
Yeah.
And what's the main difference? So you said you worked with Vivo, you worked with other more sort of traditional companies, and then you started to work more on the sports side. What do you think is the main difference? Is there any big difference between working in one type of business and another related to sports, for instance?
No, definitely there are. Yeah, there are many, but I would say, and that maybe it could be like a subject to discuss in one entire life. But if I could summarize, I would say that like, first of all, you got to understand that sports and entertainment, especially in Brazil, I would say the experience here in Brazil and Latin America, because this is the biggest experience that I have. This is coming before the World Cup, before the big events that we have. This is coming from a very unsophisticated market as far as governance, as far as management and stuff, right? It used to be very informal companies, big business, but not necessarily with lots of KPIs, lots of corporate governance, lots of this kind of stuff. And this is really different than when you compare to companies like the ones that I worked before, such as InBev, Michael Page, Vivo, and stuff, right? These companies are so big in their business, they're so competitive, lots of competitors over there, as we have in sport as well. So this is, I would say, that much more entrepreneurial style when working for sports and entertainment companies, right? This scenario for sure has been changing in Brazil and Latin America after the big events. Why? Because we have much more courses, we have much more people working in this industry. We had the opportunity to learn so much with the World Cup, to learn so much with the Olympics, and not necessarily everyone that is linked directly to the event. We know what is I would say that maybe before the Confederations Cup, no one really knows or knew what was like the hospitality in Brazil, João, right? What is a hospitality? How much would you pay for a VIP area, for a camarote, as we say here in Brazil, right? So how much would you pay? And then the World Cup came and the Confederations Cup came and changed completely the level of service, the level of price, and how you as a company could take advantage on that and stuff. So I feel that these events, they were responsible to bring more to bring more attention for the industry, more money for sure, and to make it more professional. So it's a working process, I would say, but there's still a big difference, and also having taken into consideration there are always a comparison between a client, a regular consumer, and a fan, right? The fan has passion. So if your consumer has passion, it changes completely the equation, and you have to be ready to deal with that.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Just a few comments are starting to arrive. So Alexandre Diaz says you do have a great experience. He does indeed. Fernando Bedoni said that the sound wasn't great at the start. I think it's getting better. So Fernando, let us know if you can hear us well now.
Fernando Bedoni is Olympics expert.
Sorry?
Fernando Bedoni is a very good friend of mine, Olympics expert. Understands everything about the Olympics, one of the responsible for the Rio 2016 success in Brazil.
Great. So you watching there, let us know if now the sound is okay, if you're listening well, and also where you're listening from. So Ameo is from India. I guess Fernando is in Brazil, as you said. And also, if you have questions to Ivan, just send them in, and we will. I will ask them more towards the end of our talk. If you're enjoying the conversation, don't forget to give the like. show Ivan your love, and it would be great if you subscribe to the channel as well. But Ivan, now you said that you were a volleyball player before, and every Brazilian is expert in football, one way or another. That's what they say. And indeed, surf is also, we have a huge shore in Brazil. So you would expect that the country would excel in surf. Wasn't always like that, but since a few years now, it is actually the case. And I wanted to know if you were into surf before. Were you sort of an expert? Did you follow surf before? Is that something that you needed to kind of learn or study to actually apply for the job and to start working on it? So tell us a little about it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually like a sports fan overall, right? And being, as you know, this kind of a side job as a professor, right, for sports marketing courses and initiatives here in Brazil, I have the opportunity in my life to interact and to deal with lots of friends that love surfing, right? So it gives me a very deep understanding about the culture and about the lifestyle side of this sport, which is very, very special and very different than others, right? Then being a professor, like as you said, since 2014, so for the last 6 editions of our championship tour, which is the highest level of our competition, we had 4 titles won by Brazilian guys for the men's title, right? For the men's trophy, 4 titles, 2 from won by Gabriel Medina, 2014, 2018, 1 by Adriano de Souza Mineirinho, 2015, and most recently our current champion Ítalo Ferreira for 2018. So there's no sport in Brazil that won so much as surf in this country, right? And for sure, we're talking about the region, Latin America, the region that I'm responsible for. But all of the Brazilian athletes have been having like this very, very. They are in the spotlight. They are in the spotlight, I would say, right? This like a lot of attention because of the wins, for sure, and always trying to talk. We as a league always trying to position ourselves much more than the sport. Like we are the best. We sell performance with best waves, world's best waves, world's best athletes, for sure. But that's not only there. We are also talking about lifestyle. We're talking about sustainability. We're talking about equality and diversity. So there are lots of different pillars on our positioning that makes the sports grow. For sure, performance is one of that, and it helps us so much, right? Because we have this generation that you mentioned in the beginning, the Brazilian Storm. They're not only the three of them, we have many other athletes competing. So just give you an example. We have 32 plus 4 wild cards, but I would say 36 men competing against each other in the championship tour. For the 2020 or 2021, depends on the COVID-19, allows us to be back on the tour. Mm-hmm. From the 36, we have 11 Brazilian players. We have 11 Brazilian surfers between the 36. So it's so big, right? It's so big and shows the domination that we have in these sports. And some of them between the top 10. So this is really, really a special moment for surfing, not only here, but also for the world, right? Because all of those things that I said on our position, and also because we just, like we will, right? We are supposed to be in the Olympics this year, and we will be like starting our participation in the Olympics in Tokyo next year, Tokyo 2021, and already confirmed for Paris 2024, in Tahiti, the event will be in Tahiti, and 2028 and in LA. That's in LA, yeah. So
that's right. Cool. Listen, so Emea from India says the sound is okay now. She's also asking how to become more equipped to work in sports. She sent a few questions here, so we're gonna get to the career part and the advice to people that want to work in sports in a second. So stay with us there, Emea. Mm-hmm. I actually, before getting there, I would like to get you to paint a picture for people that are watching us about the WSL, so the World Surf League. You know, people are familiar, of course, with many other leagues, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, the Premier League, and many others. But surf is different, of course, is organized differently. You would think that has much more to do something like tennis, the ATP, or Formula One. So can you explain what the World Surf League is, how it operates? And actually, then you can also tell us what is your role in it. I mean, you're the CEO, and effectively, what do you do?
Sure. So maybe the closest comparison that I would make is with the tennis hierarchy. Right, so the ones that know tennis, the ATP hierarchy, we have like maybe there's something similar between us and them, right? So this WSL used to be until 2014 the ASP, Association Surfing Professionals, and the events would be used to be owned by the surf brands, right? What we call endemic brands, such as Hip Curl, Quicksilver, Billabong, these guys. Then in 2015, we really started this new brand called World Surf League. It's now a privately owned company with headquarters in Santa Monica, California. And we have this hierarchy where, if we have the Grand Slam, maybe the Masters 1000 in ATP, we would have here our championship tour, right? What we call the CT, the championship tour. 36, as I said, 32 plus wild cards, but let's consider 36 men, 18 women competing against each other through a calendar with 11 stops throughout the year, right? men and women. Then we have the tier 2, what we call Challenger Series. So the Challenger Series that qualifies guys for the CT has, like we are discussing right now, we're gonna make some changes, but we're supposed to have like around 10 events that will qualify for the CT. And then we have all the QSs, and then the QS 5,000, the QS 3,000, the QS 1,000, and then the Pro Juniors, which is our grassroots, right? Boys and girls from 10 to 16 years old competing against each other to get to compete in the QS 1,000 and stuff. So this is how we organize ourselves. So each different level with different kinds of sponsors, different types, different locations, and trying to keep reach and frequency to talk to our fans, not only on the event side, but also in the content side, right? Like we have this strategy for always on, 365 days a year. I will say again about the lifestyle piece. Lifestyle piece is a big part of surfing, and this is something very, very inspirational. So we always try to use all of the subjects and all of these opportunities to connect to our fans through that as well. So WSL has like 3 different pillars. So one is events and competitions. The other one is the WSL studios, which we have like they're our own studios to promote and to produce our content. And then the WSL digital, all of our platforms. So your guys and your audience and everyone that is watching us, if they didn't have the opportunity yet to download the app of WSL, I would love you to test, to check it out, and let me know if you like it or what kind of improvements you would advise us to do. So we feel that our app, like for sure, we know that we have many improvements to do, but we feel that we started this digital discussion before all of the leagues that are starting to discuss now. When I give you a reason, right, why we started to this discussion, because our sport is very difficult to program in free-to-air televisions, right? Because we depend on the waves. So if we depend on the waves, my final match, my final hit, as we say, can be in a Monday morning on Wednesday afternoon, right? Not necessarily as any other sport when you have the event. When you have the event with the arena packed to watch at that time, and the television will be there and stuff. So if we depend on the waves, which is very interesting, right? We gotta create a solution to reach people wherever they are, right? And whenever they are as well. So we created this digital platform that works very well, and still working on it. So digital studios and events and competitions. So we divided the world in 4 big pieces, or 4 regions, I would say. I'm responsible for. We have our global CEO, Mr. Eric Logan, responsible for 4 different regions. We have he sits in the headquarters in Santa Monica with a big team that takes care of the different subjects of the league for sure. And then we have the world divided in 4 regions. So one North America and Hawaii, one general manager, one local CEO, as we say. Then me, responsible for Latin America. Another one responsible for Europe and Africa, and the last one responsible for Australia and Asia. So all of these offices that we have spread throughout the world, they are like business offices. They're pretty much taking care of the media side, sponsorship, merchandising, everything that related to content, everything that related to how to deal, how to understand properly the local fans in each one of our countries, how to deliver content for each one of them in the right way, for sure, and to develop our business, right? So this is pretty much the objective of having this, and for sure promoting the local events. So in my region, we have different kinds of events, whether they are owned and operated, or if they are licensed events with our partners licensees. Then we have lots of challenges. I would say that my day is very busy, but very funny at the same time.
Cool. And how many people do you have working for WSL?
We are in the WSL outside of Brazil, like more than 150. Here in my office, 10 people.
10 people.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, of course, you, like everybody else, not only dealing with sports, but in the world, have been heavily hit by the pandemic, the COVID. For you, what is the biggest learning that you had from it?
That's a good one. I think lots of learnings, but if I could compare with surfing, I would say that we as businessmen, right, we have to dance according to each wave, right? That's how it is in surfing. Each wave is different, right? Each moment of our lives and business life is different as well. So if we keep optimistic, if we keep like taking care of ourselves, taking care of our families, trying to take the opportunity to look into the right way, an optimistic way, we will be able, like, having the lucky to work in an industry so interesting and so desirable as us, right? We'll ended up having fun at the end of the day. So I think this is the thing, and how you can adapt to the different situations that you go. And it was not different in football, right? It's like I've been through crisis before. I was working with football, all of the problem happened over there. And sometimes in life, we're not expecting this kind of stuff. But the learning on how you adapt to situation and how you can extract the best of that situation, even if everyone tells you that there's nothing to be like nothing good to be learned over there. I think I think it's inside each one of those. So I think, I could spend a day telling all of the strategies that you have been doing and all of the things and all of the content strategy for sure. All of the, like, we are a league that we were based in event promotion, and then we are changing from event promotion to be a media company based in sports, which is quite challenging, right? Like the sport and the event promotion still at the core of our business, but we are more now. We want to be digital. We want to be content producers, and there are different challenges, right, for a company like us, for a league like us, to make everything as well and as perfect as we do on the event side. So different types of challenges that I have been learning, I think, so fast actually. And this COVID crisis helped us so much to speed up our process and got people into thinking the new way. But I feel that adaptability is definitely the main learning.
If I can just dig in just a little more on that, because there are questions arriving here. So one is specifically about that. First of all, where is that? So Ali Ahmed is watching us as well. Not sure from where, but we have Enrique Pelosi asking a question. He says, Ivan, with the COVID-19 crisis, how do you create new content during such a long period of time in order to keep a public interest with no events happening? There have been a few, a few sports came up with some solutions, like bike tours had people riding on Peloton bikes, or Formula One started to have their e-sport, their e-game with some of the drivers participating in it with the real teams. How did surf handle that situation?
Yeah. Hi, Enrique. Good to hear from you, my friend. So I want to say that.
Oh, by the way, before you answer that, he also mentions that's a super interesting article about North Shore, which by the way, I agree with Enrique. So if you guys want to read it, there's a link in the description of the video. It is in Portuguese, but I think that's part of the audience here will be able to read it. So sorry, go on, Ivan.
Yeah, glad that you like it. So the idea is, like, just to step back a little bit and tell about the process on how we thought about the opportunity, or that we had in our faces once the crisis started, right? So we, as any other league, we have this calendar decided with years in advance, right? The dates, we have locked in dates, we have the events most decided, we have most of the athletes with their flights booked, everyone, the staff. So imagine, and then someone comes and say, look, you're not going to do it anymore, right? And you have a reason for that, for sure, and everyone knows the reason. So, but it was not expected at all. So how, content-wise, like, we understand that the surf fan, the desire for surf didn't decrease, maybe increase, right? Because people were at their homes, like most of us here in Brazil, for example, and in Latin America, and lots of parts of the world couldn't go to the beach to surf or to spend a day at the beach and stuff. So the desire didn't decrease, the desire increased, actually. So how we are used to talk about events, pre-event, during event, post-event. That was our storytelling about, right? How can we quickly change the content production and the content ideas to give fans this experience? I think this is Henrique's question, right? So we started to looking in a big picture, right? So what kind of subjects are linked to surfing that we can give to these people and make people engage, keep engaged with us, right? So the first thing, for sure, and we did this and other leagues did it as well, we went to our archives, to our files, right? So we started to release like files from the famous hits, the main battles that we did and stuff. So this was the first thing. And then we started to check which one was working, which one was not. First, remembering that we had like different strategies here, but the same idea. One is social media, and the other one is our own owned and operated channel, which is a WSL watch, right? And a little different types of formats, right? But if you go to WSL watch, I would compare it's much more like a surf Netflix with different kinds of episodes and stuff and series over there that you can watch. And social media, so everyday social media, since TikTok until Instagram, we are doing touching a little bit of everything, right? Then we started to think what relates to surfing. Then we started to do personal training for functional surfing, right? So how in your houses, how can you make exercises? And then we got one of the personal trainers from Felipe Toledo, one of our CT stars, our friends from Personal Boards, and then they started to give this lessons, right? These classes. Then we went to visit like our athletes in the series called Low Patrol to understand the human side behind the athlete, right? What the athlete is doing during quarantine. How is the relation with the family, where he lives, where she lives, this kind of stuff. Then we understood that music is something that surfing fans have a very good connection. Then we created this festival called Sounds of Surf. And then we did the first edition. We're going to do the second edition now in live music, as we're doing the sertanejos doing here in Brazil, and all the others that we're doing, all the big artists is doing throughout the world, right? So we did live music. Then we created this series to kind of put a spotlight on the idols of the past, to make them use their experience to tell that everything's going to be good. Let me tell you my bad story here and how I overcome this story. So we got our legends to tell difficult situations that they went over and how they won the situation at the end of the situation. So we started. We were and still going on. Lots of success over there. What else? Now we are planning, and it's gonna be like we're having this project together with ESPN. We have our game competition as well. So the ones that you don't know, we have our own game called True Surf, made with this partner called True Access. The guys, friends from Australia, and True Surf is the official game for the WSL. So we'll have our athletes competing against each other and being broadcasted by ESPN. It's gonna be probably in two or 3 weeks more. It's gonna be already. So you can see lots of different things around the event. Maybe these ideas, we had some of these ideas, the other ones we created, but the crisis speeded up the process. So what we need to do is now. There's no time to plan. There's not much more time to plan. You got to do it right now. How do we keep in contact with each other? How do we test? And everything that we test in our social media that we feel that is good, and wellness, the wellness piece is one of them. Like how we test the acceptance of and the engagement of the classes, for example, the physical classes and the personal trainer stuff. What we do, we felt that works, and then we're gonna move into a series for the WSL watch. So we test in social media, we prototype, we see what happens, we see if people engage, and if they engage, we're gonna invest more to put it as a series, turn into a series into our platform, WSL Watch, because it's a different format. So this is pretty much like testing and measuring and making things quicker than it used to do before.
Well, Ivan, it really felt to me that you worked more during the quarantine that you would work during the regular season.
Much more,
guys did
much more, and I feel that I'm much more with a big challenge, because like time against us, at the same time dealing with sponsors, dealing with broadcasters, partners and stuff, to make sure like giving the direction, giving the plans, right? And there's like in the beginning of quarantine, people were kind of like, wow, what's gonna happen? Like my money is invested with you. How it's gonna look like in the future? Should I take out my money and invest somewhere else? So like these things happens, and we as businessmen, we have to like try to be calm, meditate a lot, take care of ourselves, and be good and have good ideas, right? Inspire ourselves to have good ideas on how to deal with the situation. Everything's gonna be good. Maybe it will take time, but it's a very good learning opportunity that I feel that's the way we see.
Definitely. Totally agree with you. Now we're almost like approaching the end, because this is going to be a little shorter today, because Ivan has an appointment right after. So we have a time that we need to stop this. But there's questions coming, so we're gonna try to cover as much as we can. Was that all? Yeah. So Ameyo from India was asking about. So let's touch on the career part and people that wants to really work in sports. So let's start talking about surf. So what's the advice you'd give to anyone interested in working in surf or at WSL in particular, if we're talking about that particular sport or sports in general? So if you were to give an advice to someone, let's cover two: sports in general, but let's imagine someone would really like to work for the corporation, for WSL. What advice you would give them?
First of all, I think sports in general, I always like have resumes from people telling like, listen, I wanna work with this sport because I love sports. I think this is important, right? But that is not enough, right? Or definitely is not enough, right? Because loving sports, lots of people love sports, but what you really can give to sports, whenever sport it is, right? It can be rugby, it can be football, it can be surfing, it can be darts, whatever it is, right? What you can give in your profile, you can give for that sport that can be useful for growing, right? As I was saying in the beginning, there's still lots of opportunity in this industry for like better management, I would say. Here in Latin America, we see examples every day, right? When you go to clubs, associations and stuff. When you go to private leagues, which is our case, and the case of NBA and private leagues, we have more like people started to think about this before, right? Because they're private owned usually, so they have like they have profitability objectives and stuff. So you gotta take care of people you bring, right? But you always have to think on how you as a person, as a professional, what kind of value that you add for the position you're looking for, right? This is the first thing. I think the other thing is like adaptability, as I said, very important. Sense of urgency, very, very important, right? And the crisis management as well, right? Like sports is all the time, like live events, like any sports, but live events in general, you gotta understand about crisis management, because crisis will come.
How about actually finding the opportunity? How is there an advice about that? I mean, you're an excellent networker.
Yeah.
So what would you say?
First, you gotta be present in all of the editions of iWorkinSport. This is the first thing you have to do. Then like being present in as many events as you can, right? We're going through different situations right now, so people maybe have more time to be in contact with other people online, but the events will come back, right? So you gotta go to events, maybe volunteer yourself to work for some of the leagues, some of the sports, so you get in touch with people. Studying sport doesn't mean that it's a passport to start working with sport, but helps a lot, right? So it's very important. If you understand what you're doing, helps a lot. Doesn't mean that if you did a course, you have a job. It's not there yet, but it helps a lot, right?
That was actually, sorry, go on.
No, I would just say, and then finally, get to know people that you admire, that you think that can get you contacts through the right people that you want to talk, and make yourself available and make yourself visible, right? Make people understand and learn about you and get to know that you want a position in the sports. It was like this with me, and it was like this with many people, many of my people at ESPN or SCBF Academy and stuff. So every time that I have the opportunity, I always try to refer my people to this job opportunities, and I think this is it. It's like sometimes it can be maybe your job is gonna be the dream job in the beginning, right? Maybe you have to start somewhere else, and then to get your dream job someday, right? But maybe you're not gonna. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna start today and be FIFA's president tomorrow, right? There's a long way to get there.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned two more very quickly. So one for me and one question that arrived. You mentioned the aspect of education, and if you check your CV, if you check your LinkedIn profile, saw that you did your bachelor in business administration.
Yeah.
But then you have several other courses on top of that. Very quickly, what is the importance of formal education, do you think?
I think it's more and more
in that industry in particular.
Oh, I think it's very important. I think it's as more you know about something, as more you understand about the problem, more you will be able to understand what I said before, that how you as a professional can add value to the industry, right? How there's this industry, there are like weeks and opportunities, and so if you understand and if you map where are the opportunities, to be able to map the opportunities, you have to study, right? Otherwise, it's not going to be possible for you to look into this. So you gotta study, and like being in contact with professionals from this industry that can teach you how to look into the opportunities is very useful. And I would say that more and more asking during this interview process in different kinds of companies. Maybe you can say better than me, but what I see nowadays is different than I used to see 5 or 10 years ago. Like 5 or 10 years ago, most of positions would be filled by referrals from bigger positions, right? So this is the friend of the CEO, this is the friend of the manager, or whatever it is. Now, being a friend helps, but it's not enough, right? Because you have KPIs, you have like your challenges, your objectives, and you as a person, if you get to work in that position, you gotta be able to manage and to deliver, right? And delivery day by day as it gets harder every day.
Okay, last one then.
Yeah.
You know that we have to go. Jaime, I think I'm gonna pass your question to Ivan later, because I have this one from Alexandre. He wants to know, did you already close any deal regarding surf French pool in Brazil? Is there any idea to have a full competition in that kind of pools? Maybe explain what that is.
Yeah, like WSL, one of the assets of the WSL owns the surf ranch that is based in Lemoore, California, 2 hours and a half from California. One of the
Slater's one, or is it a different
one?
Yeah,
it's the same. Yeah, it's a Kelly Slater. Kelly Slater wave company, as we say, but we call it surf ranch, right? We have already an event over there. One of the stops of the CT happens over there. We call Freshwater Pro. So the Freshwater Pro is already there in this pool, and Kelly Slater is the one. Actually, all of the events that we had by them, Gabriel Medina won all of them already. So, but it's the Kelly Slater pool. So Gabriel got maybe became an expert in this artificial wave. We plan to have one of these facilities here in Brazil as well. There are other technologies from Wave Garden. It's a kind of a different wave, but very, very fun and very interesting as well. We are not sure if we are able to run official competition into this other type of wave. We are not there yet. We never discussed about this. We know that we're possible to run an event in our pool, and we do it every year, at least once a year. So,
okay. This was great. I don't know if you want to do a very quick comment, because Jaime, his concern here, he's Brazilian as well, based in Switzerland, and we mentioned tennis before, and then we had a time where Guga was number one, Gustavo Kirten, and then there was a hype of tennis in Brazil, and now he's wondering if there's a risk for surf to
I completely agree with Jaime, right? And I would go further. I would say that that we have other examples, right? You can tell about the Formula One with Ayrton Senna, or maybe the UFC with Anderson Silva and many others, right? So, and in Brazil, it's very because we don't have like the other generation coming. That's not the case in surfing, right? Surfing, the current junior world champion is a boy called Lucas Vicente, right? And a girl called Tainá Hinkel is the second best junior surfer in the world as well. So we have next generations coming, and we are indeed concerned about how can we build, get this opportunity of having all of this very, very important generation for the sport, and take this spotlight and all of the attention to bring more boys and girls to practice and to train and to become athletes, right? And so we have Oi is one of our main sponsors. They are also our partners for the Pro Junior series that we do here. Not this year, but last year we did four different events: Salvador, Florianópolis, Rio de Janeiro, and Rio de Janeiro, Florianópolis, and here in Maresias and in São Paulo, 2 hours and a half from São Paulo. We did four different events, Pro Juniors, to really give the opportunity of this new generation to come and to show their abilities, and hope they can get into the professional surfing world and keep developing their careers. So it's indeed our concern, and we always look into other sports, what they do well and what they could do better, and always try to avoid committing the same mistakes that others did.
Yeah, cool. Listen, Ivan, thank you so much for being here. So I loved the talk. So did Ameya from India, and Michele Tiozzo also says, very interesting session, and other people send messages here thanking you. By the way, if you liked Ivan's talk, don't forget to give that like there.
Yeah.
And we'll have also cool interviews coming up in the next weeks or so. Ivan, thank you again for participating. It's great to catch up with you. We need we're in touch, in constant contact, but it's really nice that you made the time to participate in this. If you want to say anything else before you go?
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me again. Thank you so much for all your audience that was here until now, and congratulations on your job. Congratulations for giving the opportunity of us connecting with audience, discussing ideas. I think this is what you have to do more than available for other opportunities if you think that is useful for you and your audience. And let's keep in touch. Thanks again. Very, very, very nice to be here and to discuss with you this about surfing, and more than surfing, about sports in general. So
thanks a lot, Ivan. I'm gonna let you go, and to everyone watching at home or live now or later. If you want to know more, if you want to suggest any other topic that we should talk about, leave in the comments. Don't forget to follow us in our social media channels as well. And yeah, if you could, it would be great if you could hit that like and subscribe to the channel, so you get the messages, the alerts for the upcoming videos. All right. thank you so much. And